So Nintendo has reported how many Switch 2s have been sold in the first 4 days. So basically the launch window, not even the first week, and it's absolutely massive. Welcome back, friends, to another video here on the channel. If you enjoy this kind of content, leave a like, subscribe for more. We've been covering a lot of Switch 2. I'm very tired. It's been a very, very long week, but I hope you guys have been enjoying the content. Let's go ahead and jump straight into this. I'll throw it up on screen so you guys can take a look. Nintendo of America tweeted out, Nintendo Switch 2 has sold over 3.5 million units worldwide in its first 4 days, becoming the fastest selling Nintendo hardware ever globally. And obviously they're not going to say this, but I'm pretty sure that's the fastest video game console sold in its, kind of launch week or whatever ever. To put this into perspective, the PlayStation 5 obviously was very, very sought after. It was a console that sold very, very well still up until this point. It sold about 2 to 2.5 million units in its launch days. Now, yeah, there was a shortage, so you could argue that, but within its first 4 weeks, they only shipped 3.4 million. So either way, what this also tells you is Nintendo did very good with the stock, which is absolutely insane. But to backtrack it a little bit, let's check out the PS4. From what I could gather, the PS4 sold about 1 million units within its first 24 hours, and within the first 15 days, sales across, I guess, the world reached about 2.1 million units. And the PS4 was an amazingly selling console. A lot of people were excited about that. And there was a lot of people coming over from Xbox 360 to PS4 because they didn't like the practices of what was being implemented with the Xbox One at first, with Don Matrix or whatever his name was. And yeah, so there's a lot of additional users that were coming over to the PlayStation side from the Xbox, and even it only sold 2.1 million units in its first 2 weeks. PlayStation 3 apparently sold about 600,000 million units within its first week. Xbox 360 sold about 326,000 units in North America, I guess is what I'm seeing here. It's kind of hard to find exactly, but by the end of 2005, it says there was about 1.5 million units of the Xbox 360 shipped. Again, it's hard to find specifically first week sales for these consoles, but we get a little bit of a ballpark kind of idea. Now, this is only the first 24 hours, but it's ballpark kind of whatever. Xbox One, about just over 1 million units within its first 24 hours, it says, which actually, weirdly enough, matched PlayStation 4, which again, I just said, a lot of users were coming from Xbox to PlayStation. So I'm actually surprised to hear that. And then first week sales for Xbox Series X, not really great from what I could gather. Not really 100% sure, but estimated 1.2 to 1.4 million within the launch day kind of sales. So again, on the lower side. So, I mean, I'm trying to check, a lot of the consoles from recent years, and it doesn't seem like any game consoles ever sold this much in the opening sort of, week, even the first few days. And so this is massive. Nintendo is absolutely killing it. This is already outpacing the Nintendo Switch 1 as well, which was huge. Again, Nintendo says it. It's the fastest selling Nintendo hardware ever globally. And it's kind of crazy because, early on, after the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct, there was a lot of, controversy, a lot of people just rage baiting. And I said it, I made a video on the whole thing, and just a lot of people were just kind of, again, just for clicks and engagement and trying to milk the attention and bandwagon. And there was a whole stuff. But look, the numbers don't lie. At the end of the day, I think a lot of people are buying into this console because they're really excited about it. They think it's a good value. They think it's a good console. Yeah, people are not happy about, some of the more, increased prices, if you will. I mean, who would be, right? I'm not excited about having to pay more, but at the same time, that's kind of happening globally. It's happening with pretty much every company at this point. We can see, right? Xbox starting to sell their games for $80 as well. And this was happening one way or another, just that Nintendo was the first one to do it. And yeah, it really does suck. But at the end of the day, it's good to see that Nintendo is making a really good console. At least the console is something people are excited about. The games are exciting. Yeah, people are not excited about the price for Mario Kart World, but the game is really good. It's a game that a lot of people are enjoying, that, in terms of, people who actually have been playing the game. And there's a lot of big games coming. July is like Donkey Kong Bonanza. We of course have the DLC for Kirby and the Forgotten Land. We have the DLC for Super Mario Party Jamboree. We have Metroid Prime 4, Pokemon Legends CA. I mean, there's a lot. There's a lot of big games coming just in the launch year. So Nintendo's got that momentum going, and hopefully they can kind of continue to push that momentum and snowball, and keep pushing out great games, keep innovating, keep doing what Nintendo's been doing for years, and just focusing on creating, you know, and always innovating and always just focusing on, you know, bringing kind of joy to people, right? Just creating those kind of games and experiences. So anyways, let me know your thoughts. Were you able to pick one up? Surprisingly, there's still a lot of stock, and some people were, you know, again, the rage baiters, like, oh, there's so much stock because not that many people are buying it. Well, you're wrong. There's that much stock because Nintendo's just done a very, very good job at stocking the Nintendo Switch 2 ahead of time, and 3.5 million in the first 4 days is wild. It's absolutely insane. So be interesting to see how this kind of continues within the first month and then the first year and so on and so forth. But I'll keep you guys up to date as Nintendo keeps us up to date. So keep it locked for more. Let me know your thoughts, and let me know how you guys are enjoying the Nintendo Switch 2 if you picked one up, and if you didn't, do you plan to pick one up at some point, and if so, what are you waiting for? Were you just not able to get one, or are you waiting just, you know, maybe just for more games to come out, or whatever else? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching. Till the next one. Game on. See you guys later.